Hey, Kylie. Okay, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. We were just discussing like our synergistic things in life. Like your last name is my first name. And actually, fun fact, it was my mom's maiden name. So maybe we're related,
Oh,
actually.
oh my God, wouldn't that be a twist in the storyline?
Coming to us all the way from Australia. So I'm very pleased. Thank you for getting up and making the time to be part of the show today because we're going to talk about some of my favorite things to talk about.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to be here. And I mean, I feel like I always say this, but time zones are like the bane of my existence. So I appreciate you being up late as well.
Oh, yeah. It's like, seriously, I found this new website called World Time Buddy, and I'm like drawing the lines between it's because it's your tomorrow, like you're like a whole day ahead. It's a whole crazy thing. Amazing that we have the internet. We have the internet to reach people, and we're going to talk about one of your favorite ways to do that, and to particularly to grow your email list, which is like when I first came across you, I have to share the backstory for everybody. I think we got connected somehow through a Facebook group because you were hosting a bundle. And I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, what's a bundle? This sounds fun, where you can essentially share a free, well, you don't share free, you give it away for free, but it has value and you normally sell it,
Mhm.
digital product. And it goes out to a specific audience. And I was like, and your bundle was called the Visible AF Bundle. And I was like, yes, because that is exactly a very targeted audience for me as also a visibility coach. And you were using that language for yourself for a while too. And I know you're like so good at email marketing and creating these bundles. And so I want to share this because I think that like it's been one of the secrets for me as well, as far as like the most email growth I've ever seen in my whole business has been since I started incorporating bundles here and there as part of my growth strategy. So tell me how you discovered this and how you do it differently.
Oh, I love this. So let's just be real as well for everyone listening. So really, I started doing these kinds of strategies because I had no money to try paid ads. I was like, I've got nothing to put into the paid ad machine. And I hate social media. Like, I'll just say that the way it is. So because I hate social media and I didn't have money for paid ads, I was like, how can I grow my email list? And it was a new business. So I pivoted away from a service provider. I'd been a wedding photographer for a decade. COVID happened, weddings canceled. I had two kids, like life changed, right? So I wanted an online business, but I knew the audience has to come first because otherwise nobody knows what you're doing to buy from you. So knew I had to grow an email list, and I didn't want to put a freebie up on my website and wait 5 years because my website gets hardly any traffic. So relationships were the way to go, and I did dabble firstly in summits. So I hosted two summits in 2022, and if you're listening and you know me already, this won't be a surprise, but I don't do small things. I'm very much a go big or go home type of person. So the summits were like big events and they took a lot of work, and I had a blast, but they were like 3 months in the making each time. The results were great. I got, 600 people signing up to the summit. So my list went from like zero, like not even my mum on my list, to 600 in one event, to then 1,200, but it took too much time. I'm also stubborn and impatient, and I just wanted it done, and I wanted yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So then I started playing with bundles. So I was actually in a bundle as a contributor and grew my list by a couple hundred by just giving them a digital product that they could share with their audiences. And I was like, well, if I host this, surely that's got to be better. And so I started hosting bundles. And so the one that you were in was the third bundle that I'd hosted, and so much less work. And the results were the same or even better. So now I've got my list is at about 6,000, and it's all been through these like relationship based strategies.
Okay, there's so many good things that you said in there, like around, first of all, hating social media, not having money for ads. I'm like, yes, yes, thank you. This is because like there's other ways that a lot of people teach around like how to, build your email list with ads and paid stuff. And oh, it's so stressful to like put money into Meta and like cross your fingers and hope that it comes back out on the other end. And when it doesn't, it's very
Yeah.
sad. But like also wanting to, not wanting to post all the time on social media. And also you said around even doing it the free way, like having a freebie, which is another common way that people talk about growing your email list. having a freebie, but that requires you to still get traffic to that freebie in order for people to download it, in order for them to join your email list. So thank you for clarifying the ease of all of this, especially with like, and I've also done summits as well. And I was so nodding along with you. Like, yes, it is the multi-month planning process, and it can be fun, and speaking is fun, and creating again those relationships with people is fun. But sometimes we're like, can we just like take a little bit of an easier route, please?
Yes, absolutely. And I think I always encourage even my own clients and members, like it always has to come back to what feels good for you, right? Like some people love social, they love being on Instagram and dancing and doing all the things, or they love posting on their grid, or they might absolutely love paid ads and they get a kick out of getting that ad cost down. I don't even know the right lingo, but you know, like they love it. So it works for them. Whereas I think the best thing that I did was to slow down and be like, what do I actually want to do? Like, what's not what is everybody else saying? Like, what actually feels exciting and fun for me? And at the time, I was also really lonely. Like, it was post-pandemic life. I, you know, moved away from friends, and I think the world could probably relate to that feeling of isolation. And so, doing things in a way that allowed me to make friends like us, like that feels really fun and good to me. So, um, that's kind of another part of why I went down that route, I suppose.
Oh, I love it. So let's just give everyone a breakdown of what is involved in a bundle if you wanted to participate in one,
Mhm.
first of all, with like, let's do the training wheels version. Like,
I love
you just
that.
want to be part of one. What does that look like? What can somebody expect?
So really, it's pretty simple. All you need to have is a digital product, so a course, a checklist, whatever it is, some kind of digital product that you would sell, right? It doesn't have to be for sale on your website right now, but it has to be something of value. Generally, there's not a requirement as to how valuable. It could be $9, it could be 90, it could be 900. Like generally, check, of course, the requirements the bundle host has made, but generally, there's not really a requirement around the value, but it has to be something that you're comfy selling, and you're going to give it to the bundle for free. So that then makes the value of the bundle even better as a collective. The main thing though with that is that it attracts the right people onto your email list. It's no good making a digital product or putting one out there that just attracts anyone, because then we're growing a list full of just anyone's. We want our perfect people on our list. So think about your ideal client, if you will, but what is the problem that they have? How can you solve a problem that they have in this resource and speak to that ideal client? And then you're simply, once you have that piece done, you're simply filling out a form, submitting it to the bundle, and then promoting it while the bundle is live. Having an email sequence on the back end is like, you know, the best strategy to have. But I mean, even if it's just a delivery email of like, hey, here's the thing, that's fine. Keep it simple to start with. But that's really it. It's just coming up. I think the biggest piece is coming up with that product so that you're attracting the
Mm-hmm.
right people onto your list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, making sure that it's like it's solving a specific problem and as specific as possible too. And like then the other layer of that is then making sure that it's going into a bundle that's also aligned to your ideal client. Like I was mentioning how yours like really spoke to me. And then I've done several of them now and evaluated like how many new leads have come as a result of those different ones. And and it's got a lot to do with like how specific the bundle was, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think as long as the resource is specific, you can, because there are broader bundles out there, like, you know, live your best life. I don't know, it's a really bad name, but, you know, there's really broad bundles out there. And I think as long as your resource is specific and it's going to attract your ideal client, it's okay to still put it into those ones that aren't as narrow. Um, but I will say the ones that are niche down, like you're talking about, those bundles that are really just for that, solving one problem for that person, the leads that come in are going to be much better, much more aligned to where you want them to be. And they're going to be ready then for what else you have to offer a lot quicker than the ones that will come in from a broader bundle. So, yeah, best case scenario, look for one that actually attracts your ideal client. Just for some examples, if anyone's like, oh, what do you even mean? So, you know, I am visibility, email list growth coach. I don't know what I call myself sometimes, but, you know, email list growth. So I look for bundles where female business owners are going to be going to that for their marketing, email list building, visibility, anything where a female entrepreneur will be attracted to. And that's my ideal client, right? So rather than putting it into a bundle for homeschooling mums, or a bundle, you know, like ones that they might be there. There might be a few people in there that will be there, but not really my ideal clients. Keeping it as intentional, I think, is the best word, as you possibly can.
Yeah. And so, okay, good. So now we've identified like how to figure out what kind of bundle to be part of and how to create a good product to put into those. Then what comes next? Like how, so now we're talking about collecting email addresses and collecting leads, AKA leads, if we're going to use marketing terminology. Then you just kind of brushed over the whole idea of having an email sequence on the back end. So I want to connect the dots for everybody to understand what that means, just even from a communication perspective.
Yeah, so I think the best thing that you can do is have some kind of email sequence that goes out automatically that kind of introduces yourself. Like remembering anybody that comes in from a bundle is literally a cold person. They don't know you, they haven't met you, they don't know like or trust you yet. So having an email sequence on the back end of that will be really important that introduces you. I always recommend sending out that delivery email straight away and then putting a few days delay on the next email that you send out, because if people go and sign up for 20 things, that's 20 new email lists that they've just joined, and they're probably going to be really overwhelmed. So put a bit of a delay. And then that second email is just like, hey, I know your inbox has been crazy. By the way, my name's Kylie. If you haven't met yet, this is what I do. And hey, if you missed the link for what you signed up for, here it is again. Like a super simple reintroductory kind of email. And then I like to then send a couple more just to set my values and expectations, how often I email them, what kind of content. If I have anything else I want to give to them, like, hey, this is a bonus resource you might like, or a podcast episode that I think you'll really enjoy, just things to get them involved in your world, right? And with those welcome sequences, the higher, this is getting into a bit of email jargon, I guess, but the higher you can get your open rates, your click rates, people engaging with that sequence, then they're going to be in the habit, so that when you're sending them the weekly content and your weekly emails, they're opening and clicking more. So your email list will be healthier. So best practice is to have one of those sequences. If you're listening and you're like, oh, that sounds way too complicated, just send the delivery email and then get into the habit of sending weekly emails out. You don't need to have this perfect sequence to make this work, but it is best practice.
And sometimes you have them and it takes you forever to get them to actually work. So
Yeah,
just
we've all done
FYI.
that. We've all done that. Forget to turn them on, or like
We're
publish
like,
them, or like,
okay, I'm going to do a bundle. I'm going to get 200 to 300 new people and they're all going to go through these emails. Okay, nobody bought anything yet. So now I have to go in another bundle and try different emails and et cetera, et cetera. Not talking, just asking for a friend, you know?
and well, can I say as well, my own experience, it's not as simple as like send the emails out and people buy at the end. Like my people, they need 3 or 6 months of my email content to get to know me. And I feel like this might be generalizing, but I feel like at the moment people need more time. Like I need more time before I spend my money.
Yeah.
So I like to always think of that and give them as much time as they need to get to know whether it is right for them. So don't expect to send out an email sequence, put a sale on the end, and then be like, oh, why aren't they converting? Because that's quite normal.
I love that you said that. I totally agree that there's like just people are being more conscious about this, about, investing in things. Even doesn't matter what the price point is. Um, and so, yeah, consistency with your communication is important, and building up those relationships with the potential clients on the other end, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it's a good thing, because if people are intentionally purchasing, they really want it when they get in there. Like they've put a lot of thought in. It's not this impulse decision that they then regret. They're going to actually be a better client for you as well. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Okay, so I'm just thinking through all the questions that everybody might be having if they're like, ooh, what's bundles? Ooh, how do I get a bundle? How do I get in a bundle? Where do I find opportunities to get into bundles? What would you say to that?
Well, definitely. Let me say first, when you're going down this route, don't do too many. I know when I first started, I was like applying left, right, and center, and suddenly I had like 5 in a month, and I had to promote them all and send my own things, and it was a lot. So I always recommend 2 a month is like a good sweet spot. Ideally, so you can then alternate the promotional emails. So you're sending out like a bundle promo email, and then your own weekly email, and a bundle promo email, and then your own weekly email. That cadence, it works really well. In terms of where to find them, Facebook groups are your best friend. There's a couple, I'm not going to name them because they do change all the time, but if you get onto Facebook and you search bundles, you're going to find people talking about it, people putting out calls for contributors. When you see a bundle that is being promoted, that might be live for you to go and sign up to, have a look at who the host is. Don't be afraid to reach out to the host and say like, hey, I just saw that you're hosting this. If you do it again, I'd love to be a part of it. That kind of thing works really well. And then of course, I do have a membership that I can, give you guys a link to, that I have a dashboard there that has like a list of all the open collaborations at any one time. Because you'll find once you're in this world, you'll also then get invited to them all the time. So it is something that happens quite naturally as well.
Yeah, and I want to circle back to what you were saying at the beginning too, just about how you define this as a strategy, as a relationship-based visibility strategy. So, like, can you? I just don't want to. I know I'm not the only one who has the same message, so I would like you to echo what I know you're going to say around building relationships, because, like, as we started this conversation, I was like, I was in a bundle that Kylie hosted back in the fall, and now then I spoke in your Spotlight Club, and now you're here on my podcast. And then we're going to do another collaboration, which we're going to share about at the end of the episode as well, which is going to be live when people are listening to this. So, this is how businesses grow, by building these collaborations and these relationships.
Oh, 100%. And how good does it feel? Like, I would much prefer to spend my time deepening relationships like ours, than posting on an Instagram grid. Like, I just think that when we peel back all the layers of all the shiny things that are out there, relationships are at the core of everything, right? It's how we connect as humans. It's how, um, even you inviting me onto the podcast, me inviting you into my membership, like the trust that we have built with our own audiences gets then passed on to each other. Because we're like, hey, I vouch for this person. Like, come and share, if it's of interest to you. And I love the fact as well, we practically do the same thing, right? But there's no like competitiveness, or it's not like, I've always loved that, rising tide lifts all ships, because there's enough to go around, right? And I think that when you can have that mentality and mindset and just be in it to help each other, and there are people in my audience that will prefer the way that you speak. There's probably people that are listening here, they're like, oh, I really vibe with Kylie. Like, there's enough.
Yes.
So I think that that's also really good to remember, because I think it's easy, especially if you're just on social. And I know I'm like ditching all over Instagram or dissing all over Instagram at the moment, but when you're on social, it's really easy to just get to that comparison when actually there's enough. So you can build these relationships and serve the same clients in different ways. And it's all good. And it's how, yeah, I do think it's how business is intended to be, right? That's how life is intended to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's apply that. We I was just listening to a book, in the chapter I was listening to was just about, like, the reaching out for help and asking for help, and also receiving help, right?
Mm,
And that truly, in every aspect of our life, we need to start being more open to that connected collaboration support systems without feeling like we're failing in some way if we lean on it.
mm. I do wonder, like, where did, I've always heard like the generations before us, it takes a village, and they all had their
Yeah.
villages. And I don't know where it happened. I'm like, I don't really have a village. And now I do, because I've gone out and made one with relationships. But I think it's easy, especially if you're a work from home business owner, busy life, kids, all the
Yeah.
things, all the different roles we have. I think it's really easy to just get busy living life that way. And suddenly we turn around and there's no village, like there's no one there. So I would encourage anyone that's listening, like, relationships can change the game for everything. Yes, business, but also personal life and connection and friends and all of that too. And it doesn't need to be somebody that lives next door. Like, all of my relationships, I would say 95% of all of my members in the Spotlight Club are all in the US or Canada or the UK. I've got hardly any Australians. All of my like business friends like you don't live in Australia. Like, all of my relationships are worldwide. And now that we can communicate and build relationships, and that doesn't have to be a barrier, it just means that we're even more empowered to build like the most amazing village, but we just need to be intentional about it and actually reach out.
Yes, I love everything that you just said, for sure. And it is amazing that we have this opportunity. And, like, on one hand, it's almost like overwhelming. And then and then, like you said, when we can get on social media and we start doing that comparison thing, which is just like, we're just gonna stay away from that whole topic.
Mm.
I talk about it a lot on every other episode of this podcast, and people who are here, they really know that. Um, I think, people were just getting tired of it too. Tired of
Yeah.
feeling that it's a requirement in order to be successful. So I'm here to amplify the voices that are showing us that it's not the case. There's a lot of other ways that we can grow and we can connect and create opportunities for ourselves. And that's what it is. You got to put your hand up to say that you are willing and available. And then on the other hand, being open to having and providing the opportunities too, because relationships really work best when there's something to give on both ends, right?
Yes, two-way street, 100%. And circling back to the bundle conversation, um, host, and we can talk about hosting, but hosting a bundle and being the person that puts it together is the perfect place to start these new relationships, right? Because you're actually saying like, hey, I want to help you grow your email list. I'm putting on this event, come and be a part of it. And you'll very quickly find your people in those types of online events, in those types of collaborations. So if anybody is listening that's thinking like, where do I get started? Be in a couple first, contribute to a couple bundles first so you can see how they work. But hosting a bundle is a great way to like fast track that relationship growth as well.
Oh yeah, I remember first for me because it was summits first. It was such an easy ask to be able to say,
Mhm.
"Hey, can I like put you in the spotlight in front of people who potentially want to buy your stuff? I would like to give you a
Mhm.
platform." So it's an easy ask to invite someone to be part of an event, bundle, whatever it is, podcast, because
Mhm.
it's like, look at what I can do for you instead of it's not about me, right?
Yeah. And you can do it when you don't have an email list yet, because that's a lot trips a lot of people up. It's like, well, who am I to do it? I don't have something to like, I don't have my own email list yet. I don't have my own audience yet. But you don't need one because what you're doing is just creating a platform for everyone else to come and bring their audience, and you're all leveraging each other's audiences. So you don't need to be super established yet to make it work, which I think is so good because so often that holds us back. I think we're like, oh, I'm not
Mm.
big enough, or I'm not there yet. Well, actually, yeah, you could do this. Like there's no barrier at all.
Yes. Oh, that's so true. Now I'm like, well, maybe I have to host one. But let's talk, before we wrap up, Kylie, let's talk about your current bundle, the bundle that's live and available as this episode is live because it's your birthday.
Ooh, yeah, so it's called Kylie's Birthday Bash. Now, you'll get this obviously from us talking, but I'm obsessed with birthdays. It's like my birthday month. It's like I celebrate for a long time. Like I love birthdays. So this year I was like, well, it could be really fun to do a bundle around my birthday. Like, how fun will that be? So I've put it on from the 10th to the 16th of June. My birthday's on the 12th, bang in the middle. And we have over 200 contributors, again, providing super valuable resources that it is for female business owners, but they're not just business related resources. So there's a variety of things that could help in all aspects of your life. But yes, and I'm really excited to have you. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun.
I love it. And I just want to underscore for everyone listening that how much you're just like making the decisions about what feels fun and good and right about things, because I think sometimes we just get over analytical, trying to think about what's going to be the best strategy. Well, did listening to this sound fun? Does it sound like fun to participate in a bundle? Why don't you go download and subscribe to Kylie's Birthday Bash if you haven't experienced a bundle, and now you'll experience it on the consumer end, and then join one, and then maybe host one, and then report back to us and let us know how it's going.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So you have a special link. So I'll put that in the show notes so you can go and jump in. There is two tiers to this bundle. So because we have so many contributors, I thought it'd be fun again to split it up so that there's a free tier. So there's one section of the bundle you can just sign up for free, get some incredible resources. But for any products that were valued between $100 and $500, a lot of them have gone into like a VIP tier. It's a VIP party bag. We've even got it themed, you guys, like party bags. But yeah, and that's just $97. So you can grab that and it's worth thousands. So either option, regardless of what your budget is, there'll be something in there for you, which yeah, is fun. And yes, I love it. So one last thing for all of our listeners, how I make decisions in my business now is by asking myself what feels fun right now. And if it doesn't feel fun, it's a no, because I learned the hard way that following somebody else's cookie cutter strategies doesn't always work for us, right? We need to make our own decisions in business and in life. So fun is always the answer, always.
Yes. Let's cheers. I feel like I wish I had a glass of champagne right now and be like, cheers to more fun in our business.
Well, it's like 10 a.m. for me, so I better not do that or I'll have to have a
Well,
nap later. But
mimosas, it's fine. We can pretend
absolutely.
it's Saturday, whatever. You know what? You run your own business, you make your own decisions, okay?
That's true. And it does feel fun. You're right. You're right. You've got
That's
me.
so
You got
fun.
me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Kylie.
No, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Yay.